because you have now signed on to the Connie Mack penny plan in the House. And
right.
All right. And it's a very simple, understandable plan. And for example, next year we're going to spend, correct me if I'm wrong, anywhere between 7.5 and 8% more the federal government will than they're spending this year, correct?
Right.
And the same thing the year after.
Spending's going up at about 7% a year.
7 or 8% a year for as far as the eye can see that we know, right?
Correct.
All right. So what you're saying is let's look at the 2011, how much we spent in 2011, which is what, $3.7 trillion?
Right.
All right. So what I mean is we're going to not increase it 7.5%, but we're going to freeze it every year for 6 years, and then every year cut it just 1% from this year's level, and do that for 6 years, and then 18% of GDP, which is historic, and then you get to a balanced budget. Is that right?
What American family is not having to cut back at least 1 penny on every dollar because of family members unemployed, because of inflation, because of bad economic times? Can the government not cut 1 penny out of every dollar? I mean, It's crazy. But it also illustrates the fuzzy math up here. When they talk about cutting in the Boehner plan or they talk about cutting in the Reid plan, they're cutting from proposed increases. The penny plan by Connie Mack and myself over in the Senate would cut real 1%. You would actually spend less next year than you spent this year, and that would be a real cut.
Is that something that could get traction, do you think, in the Senate?
Frankly, I think it's a good idea. It's another good idea that's on the table. Bruce Cook of Atlanta is the author of that proposal. Good guy, smart guy. If you do it for 7 years in a row, you get spending down to 18% of GDP. That's where we need to be.
Speaker John Boehner. How are you, Mr. Speaker?
John, I'm doing good.
Is that they say we can balance the budget in 6 years if we would cut across the board 1% every year. Powerful idea to me. What are your thoughts?
It certainly sounds like something I'd be taking a look at.
Senator Jim DeMint is with us, and he and Rand Paul have come up with this idea. I don't know. Did you hear about this penny plan that they're pushing?
Yeah, I did.
And I got to be honest, next to cut, cap, and balance, I think this may even be better than cut, cap, and balance if you add a balanced budget amendment to it.
Yeah, well,
this year's budget, which is $1.65 trillion that we didn't even take in, and we're going to live within that budget for the next 6 years and decrease it every year just 1%. 1%. Can you not find a way to manage the deficit and the debt and get our country off risking its AAA bond rating that way?
Absolutely, we could do that. It would be reasonable. It would be the kind of steady, step-by-step process that could lead us to a balanced budget. It won't be easy. That's more significant, Sean, than it might appear, but it is doable, and that kind of thing and that kind of thinking is exactly the way we need to be approaching this.